Hello, and welcome back to the Empire's Mode Creative Server. I'm Jake Kelton, and as you still might be able to hear in my voice, I've been a little under the weather, which means I haven't been able to record all that much, but I thought, let's go ahead and record some awesome stuff, even if my voice is a little bit weird. But check out the awesome server. This is the Empire's Mode Creative Server, where anyone can create their own kingdom. It is in creative, so we get to build some amazing, amazing things. And since we've had the upgrade of being able to have world edit on this server, that means that I'm able to build a lot more stuff. So let's break down the changes that have taken place to our underwater kingdom while I've been working and a little bit under the weather. And we've got a ton to get into. So let's jump in. The first thing that I want to show off today is the interior of the amazing Imperial Amphitheater. Last time all of these walls were pure white. We have done a lot of work decorating this place, so now it looks way more official. It's a little bit stylized in the sense that everything kind of looks exactly the same. I'd like to kind of break down some of these walls so that way we can see different north, south, east to them. Maybe I'll change up some color variation or something, or at least break it up a little bit. It's pretty simple, but it's still a great start and looks so much better than last time, just the white all around. Now we can swim out here and check out some of these towers over here, where I went ahead and to make sure that we had water breathing in every one of these areas, added some more of these awesome conduits that are powering our area. We have these large towers, which we're going to spend a little bit of time decorating today. These little plaza areas on the outside of the amphitheater, I've done a lot of decorating with this terracotta, beautiful terracotta. Tried to get some cool swirly designs, making it look very watery. I'm not really sure if these look like horns or if that's a face or something. You'll have to let me know in the comments. But overall, I was trying to mimic some of the green of kelp and how it kind of grows off into the sides and stuff. But I don't know that it actually worked out too well. But it is mirrored on all four corners, and we're definitely going to need to do a lot more work to fancy it up. I'm thinking of putting in some coral gardens all around the outside of this area to really add a lot of color and beautify it a lot more. But at the moment, we're just kind of laying in the foundation framework for this. The other thing I was thinking of, it'd be kind of cool to put some market stalls up here, right? Maybe this is an area where, as our kingdom of Aquelia opens up to the world and allows for more interaction with the outside world, they've added some market stalls here where people from the above the air kingdoms can visit, and this is where they can shop pretty quickly without having to go much deeper. And much deeper we go. Check this out. Thanks to World Edit, I've been able to just delete huge amounts of area as we dig deeper and deeper so that we can build ourselves a much larger castle. Check this thing out. A lot of these builds are only partially built, which hopefully we'll get to some finishing of them today because I was doing it while I was a little bit under the weather. But look at the detail on the outside of this wall. This looks awesome. It's so cool. These giant pillars, mixture of diorite and a little bit of the quartz to bring some more white. And I played around a ton with the wall back here, what it could look like and what some options, and we still have a lot to figure out. But at the moment, you can see some of my pattern designs that I'm trying and testing out and looking at, and I love it. And don't worry, this is not going to be the seafloor, because as it turns out, you can check this out over here, I have gone all the way down to bedrock, which is way down here, and this is where I plan to really keep things going all the way down here. Whoop, seeing the inside of my head. So we've got a lot of room to work on, a lot of kingdoms still to build. I was playing with the idea of these stairs, kind of grand staircase leading up to the top, but I don't know that I'll stick with it, considering that, again, we can swim in this world. So we don't really need necessarily to have stairs because all of our people can kind of swim around. And don't worry, there's nothing underneath here yet. We've got a lot of work to do to figure out how to fill in and add a ton of awesome rooms into this space underneath our main amphitheater. But this is a good start, and I've got so much crazy amounts of inspiration And I really just think that for an underwater kingdom, this thing has started off really, really well, and we've got a lot more that we can do with it. I don't want to necessarily mirror these pillars on every single side of the amphitheater. What I'm probably going to do is kind of expand out some wings on the left and right hand side, and that way open up a little more room and maybe build some more domes and stuff. I've got just so many ideas. It's crazy the amount of ideas that I have, and there's just not enough time to build. I could just spend every day doing non-stop building, but this is coming along really well. It looks super cool, and we're going to get to work and try to get some finalized details on some of the areas that are kind of just started. Again, when we're building kingdoms like this, you got to start with the sketches. You got to start with just kind of what designs, shapes are we looking for. We're going to try to detail the towers today. We're going to try to detail some of the pillars. We're going to figure out what we're doing on the sides. I do want to go ahead and note, though, we did win the competition that we did in our last video. So thank you to all who watched the statue video. If you want to check it out, we actually won first place, even despite having built a full temple around it. A lot of the people that were doing the judging liked the statue. So you can check out the card up in the top right hand corner if you want to check out that video. And with that, we win a lot of points to be able to add more room to our kingdom. I'm not going to add them just yet because I want to earn a lot more points before we try to expand a full circle around this kingdom. But we have a lot of options, and so there's a lot of room to continue to expand, and we're going to try to expand on our build today. Let's get to it. All right, so the first thing we're going to start off with today is working on these towers on the corners. I've done a little bit of decorating up here so that we have ourselves another conduit to get some more water breathing going on, and it's a little bit fancy. I think it could still use some work, but it's kind of started a little bit of a design up there. But the rest of this is super plain, super boring, and so we're going to need to find some way to fancy it up. And I think I'm going to keep going with a lot of these pillar themes. I like a lot of the pillars that we've got going on here, the pillars we've got going on here. So I'm going to try to work some pillars into this as well, but I'm going to be making them a lot thinner, probably making use of the walls. And as always, when it comes to this sort of stuff, it's a little daunting at first. You get a little bit scared, you get a little nervous. You're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't have a good design in my head. But the best way to get started is to just get started. So let's dig in. Wow. Just wow. Look at this tower. This is awesome. I truly went into this thing blind, having no clue what would make it look good. And I just started placing blocks and kind of figuring it out as I went. I knew that I wanted some of these pillars like I talked about before. Oh yeah, ignore the bottom hasn't been decorated yet. But this up here, knew that I wanted these pillars in here and for all of this to come in. But to add these little points to the corners, I don't know. I just went ham on finding colors and details and some shading. And I would just say if you're trying to do this, really experiment. I could not count how many different types of blocks we've got in here, between some prismarine, between terracotta, the bamboo. We've got andesite, polished andesite, smooth stone, chiseled stone. I mean, I probably could count all of the different blocks, but it would take a while. We got warped nylon up here, and it's so good. We did detail every part. I don't like those builds where it's just like, oh, I'm going to detail the exoskeleton and not the inside. So we've actually got some awesome floor and an awesome ceiling up here.
we had some fun. Sorry for the jump scare with the water. Gilded, blackstone up at the top just to add a little bit of beauty up there as well. And then if you come all the way down to the second floor, we've got ourselves a little bit of the blue terracotta. This blue kind of stands out really bright. I don't know if I like how bright that is. I might change it, but I'm really enjoying using the terracotta for a lot of detail. And then in here, we've got like a sunburst on the bottom. I was trying to make use of some of the chiseled stone or chiseled bookshelves, excuse me. I might change out some of the corners for a little more detail. But the idea is that when you come in here, if you're swimming in here, you can then grab any of these to jump off into, or you can just get stuck on the ceiling. There we go. To stop off on any of these floors, and as you're swimming around, you can just swim out. If you need to go down. I'm not really putting in any of the. I think it's magma at the moment that kind of pulls you down, but this is great. And if you compare how this tower looks. Maybe you could have added more. I might add more jutting things down here, kind of mirror those things that jut out, and then mirror them down here. Maybe I'll make them out of andesite so they're a little bit darker and it's white. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. And maybe we make a third tier of them down here as well. It's not supposed to be really evil. It just has a tiny hint of maybe some of those, Japanese, the roof corners that kind of stick out a little bit. But you compare that to this, it's just night and day. You can see how, I started over here where it's just this blank template, right? We just got the shape. And that's all we really cared about was just getting some of the shape down. And then you come in here, and if you watched as I was kind of going through the different building, I just started working my way up. I started at the bottom, adding pillars, and kind of went all the way up. And I didn't have all the detail the very first time. I've gone back over this a couple of times to add in a little bit more detail, But that is just so beautiful looking. And I bet it would be even more beautiful looking if there wasn't all the water. But that's what the challenge is. The challenge is how to make a really cool looking underwater area, underwater kingdom. And I think that we're doing it really, really well. I love the detail. It's just so colorful. There's so much stuff going on. I'm trying not to over detail it, but it's really hard. When there's just so many different things that we can do. I still need to add some more stuff down here because this is very textured, but there really isn't anything on it, right? It's fairly plain. So I'm trying to figure out how to add some like coral gardens and stuff to it. So I'll figure all of that out, but really cool stuff. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this tower, I think as is, around the other 4 sides, and we'll see where the episode's at. Oh, I didn't talk about these guys yet. Yeah, so I built these. I was sick a couple weeks ago, and I didn't have a voice at all. So I was like, well, let me just build something while I don't have a voice. And I was trying to build these statues. I think they kind of worked out. They're a little blocky, a little maybe plain, but it seemed really cool that if we're going to keep adding more layers to the kingdom, that as you kind of come up, you've got these cool statues to the entryway of the gate that goes underneath the main building, which is still currently empty. So we're gonna take a long time there. We did detail these corners just a little bit, just adding in some stairs and more of our glow like, and I just love that we can place that underwater just for a little bit of extra detail, something to break up those walls. There's a lot of stuff that you can do to kind of break up walls and make them look really good. There's probably some more detail with terracotta that we could put into here, but I like the way the arches look at the moment. So let me copy this around and we'll see where things are at. Oh yeah, now we're starting to talk. Look at this thing. It looks so cool. Let's check it out from a little closer. If we're out of the water, you can definitely see all the way down, see those bright lights, all the crazy colors and details on these towers. And it may be a little bit much out of the water because you see those bright yellows are a lot more yellow and the greens are a lot more green. But again, we're building for underwater and I think it looks really, really cool. What's really crazy is how deep we actually have dug, but it doesn't actually look that deep. Like all the way down there is deep slate. Like we're almost hit bedrock where that other conduit is. And yet from up here, because of the angle, it doesn't look all that crazy deep, but it's still awesome. I'm excited to keep working on it and see where we go from here. If you have any ideas as to what you think I should build and add to this kingdom, definitely let me know, because I love hearing y'all's feedback and where you think that it would be cool to kind of take it. I'm seeing that dark green around our main circular amphitheater, and I'm wondering if maybe we should add some dark green around the border edge of the kingdom too, to kind of mirror dark green and dark green. I'll have to look into that. All right, so I've been at work on this area underneath our platform up there, and you can see as I go a little bit too far, some of the awesome wall design that I've worked out. I went through this thing so many times trying to figure out what would make sense and what would look really cool. I think we found something that includes some of the design elements that we have from up above, and also adds in some new kind of fun design elements as well. One of the main things is there's almost this subtle eye shape to it that we get when it comes to the conduits and everything else, and maybe it's a hint at the Enderman or something. It's all-seeing eyes to keep away the Enderman. Who knows? I thought it was really fun. We still have this wall over here that needs to be detailed, and I've just thrown in some polished elements down here, just some tile to be able to get a flooring of some type, mirrored it over here as well, and that way we get the full effect of our amazing kingdom so far. And I think what's really cool is that as we add more layers to this, we also have a lot of this area inside that we still need to finish and add more to. It just means that there's more to do. There's just a ton more stuff that we get to experiment with and play with. But I think we're gonna have to end the video off here. As always, there's a lot of stuff that we could do to expand. Check out this view. I'm gonna play around with some shaders, see if I can pick up a shader that allows us to see a little bit more clearly underwater, so we're not always having to kind of come up above the water to see down below. But this is still a really cool view. We get our statues. You can kind of subtly see those pillars down below. I think we're actually missing the lights on the left-hand side. We can see them on the right side, but not on the left side. That's all right. We'll get in there and fix that, and I'll mess around. If you have any shader suggestions that you think would look really good for a build like this underwater, let me know. And of course, as we expand the kingdom, we're going to have to actually start texturing the underwater area, so that way it's not just these weird blocky, cliffs that drop off around our awesome building. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Have a great one. Catch you later.